Hey, about 1 year ago, I made a video about AI, non-crypto promise of Web3, fragmentation, and why we're doomed. A lot has happened since then, and it's been happening so quickly that I've never really felt stable enough to say anything about it. I didn't have the time to really take it all in and then yap about it later. It was just one after another. As a recap, the UK bill for online censorship to protect the children, they say, has passed, and people in the UK are eating shit right now. Windows, as always, is threatening to lock down their user base even further. ID verification has hit YouTube. ID verification with third parties, and these third parties are almost never secure. They're getting hacked all the time, so it's very likely that if you give your ID over to these people, you will lose your identity. That's going to be fun. Different games, porn games in particular, have been targeted by the echoes of Gamergate. Some feminists in Australia. It's really frustrating. And payment processors, the attack vector they use, have shown their hand, and now everybody's aware these guys control everything you do online unless you move into crypto, which nobody's willing to do. So they also lied, like blatantly lied about the amount of power they were using and how they were twisting Valve's arm. I'm not a huge Valve fan. I like Valve. I don't love Valve, but I hate that I have to pick one corporation over another. This is never a good situation. And of course, AI has proven to be a bubble. Someone finally came out and said, like out loud, Sam Altman himself finally said, yeah, AI is a bit of a bubble. And GPT-5, the promised AGI accelerator, is bust. It's absolute shit show. Now, I was watching all this and I wasn't sure what to yap about, but of everything here, I think everyone's already touched on the censorship stuff. In fact, every bit of coverage I've seen has been about censorship. I'm not here to make coverage. I'm just here to yap, just here to casually talk about this stuff. But everyone already knows about Collective Shout and the UK and ID verification, and everyone's using fucking Clippy on their profile picture like that's going to save you at all instead of actually decentralizing and host your own matrix node. But okay, fine. You already know about that. So instead, I'm just not going to talk about it. I want to focus on GPT or AI and this bubble that we found ourselves in and what happens when that thing fucking pops. I also want to talk about what happens afterwards because no matter what you might like to think, especially if you're an artist, AI is here to stay. And that's the truth we got to hear sooner rather than later. So before anything else, I want to talk about what AI and AGI even are, right? That brush is really large. An AGI. Okay. So I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty. You don't really need to understand tensor cores or anything like that. But what you do need to understand is that AI is essentially just prediction modeling, right? I ate a salad. So whenever you're on your phone, on the keyboard on your phone, you have all those buttons. And then you have that black bar across the top with all those next word predictions, right? This is what AI is doing. It is predicting the next word based on a I don't even know if I can correctly explain just how large this data set is. It's pretty much everything humanity has ever written down. And it has learned to I say learned as I'm personifying it to make it seem. I'm personifying this to make this make more sense. Because if I don't personify this and start talking about tokenization and all this crazy bullshit and like who's assigning each token and like tool utilization and agents, it's a lot. It's a lot, and it doesn't really all make sense. So I'd rather just do this. So AI has been trained on a data set that isn't even stored inside of a 2D plane. It's stored in 3 dimensions, all right? That's the most casual, friendly way I can think of to explain just how much data we're talking about here. It's not even viable to store this inside of an SQL table or anything. You can't store this in an Excel sheet. It's too much. An AI trained on all these different pieces of data can statistically produce effectively what is your keyboard's autocomplete. It sees I as a token. It predicts, okay, statistically, there's an 82% chance, considering a lot of different factors. So, like the pattern of all English, your typing patterns, and probably some extra stuff here. These are called weights. These weights are what make the AI behave differently. It gets a little bit more complicated than this once again, but I'm just trying to be casual here, okay? So, AI says there's an 82% chance that the next word is 8. Sometimes it gets it wrong. But most of the time, you're not just typing one word into AI. Usually, you have like at least four. So it can gradually predict, okay, you said you ate, I ate. All right, the next word has a very high probability. I'm going to say 99% to be an A. This is how AI works. It's this. It's trained like crazy to be able to do this. And it seems so real because when you break it all down, after you read enough English sentences, it all kind of just turns into this pattern. You ever see one of those blob graphs where it has like the really big subject in the middle, and then has a second subject and a third subject, and these minor bubbles everywhere? It's like, okay, this is like 98% of everything that exists. Okay, if you use this for the English language, the most common word in the English language is probably I, or maybe is. Either way, like this is the type of probability that we're talking about here. You can break down a language into its sentence structures and you can predict what the next word would be. So if I said I ate a, you can guess there's probably going to be something here that I ate. Now, is it always going to be a food? No. And this is where like the semantics of AI come into it, and it starts to get a little bit more complex. Like, how does AI know that I'm saying I ate a dick? It doesn't know that. It has no clue that it can't know that. But that's what the weights are for. Luckily, AI, as of right now, is not trained to complete your sentences. It's trained to conversate with you, right? Like the little Beatbot machine here. This guy, his entire job is just to talk back. There's AI right now does not come out of nowhere and just start yapping. Not like me, right? You always have to prompt the AI and then it will give you a B response. It will always be a response to you. It will never be the initiator. And I'll get into why that paradigm is a problem, like the LLM paradigm is a problem, because this is not how you reach AGI, in my opinion. What the fuck do I know? I'm not a researcher. Okay, so AI works. It's just autocomplete. That's all it is. There's some people that like to hype it up, but in the end, it's just a very complicated and very fancy autocomplete. Just like you see on your phone keyboard, it's the exact same fucking thing. You can construct sentences on your phone keyboard by pressing these buttons over and over again. The same thing is happening with AI. There's just more. That's what the weights are. It's tuning the AI, fine tuning, you could say, to behave a certain way, based on whatever the fuck the weights are. Weights are just the parameters, the knobs, the dials. You turn this one way and the AI responds XYZ, okay? And it's like a huge fucking soundboard of these dials, like hundreds and hundreds of dials, and they all range from 0 to 1. And you can turn this to 0.234 and that's that's a model weight. I'm getting too into the weeds. It's not that big of a deal. The point is this is how AI works. This is how large language models work right now. I'm not going to get into tensor cores. You just need to understand it's an autocomplete. Okay, next. So now I wanted to talk about AGI. The issue that we're facing right now when it comes to the conversation of GPT 5 and like these thought experiments you've seen, like I'm sure you guys have seen that video where they're talking about, oh, by the way, in 2030, humanity is going to end because it's going to be the agentic model A that lords over the entire world and the Chinese model, and they communicate with each other through silent secret waves so that the overseers can't read what they're saying, right? Like we've seen these videos, and it's complete bullshit, but it's fun. It's fun to think about this. It's fun to have like the thought experiments. It's bullshit, but it's fun. And I'm not here to show anybody's parade. The issue that makes things like this bullshit and make this so easy to believe is that we're not really sure what AGI, this thing, is even supposed to be, because the goalposts keep changing. So Sam Altman, the guys behind OpenAI and GPT, they define it loosely. The last time I heard they defined it, they said AGI is, I should type this out so I'm writing it out. This is why I'm on Obsidian, thank God. Is when no car or something like that, right? Maybe not. Okay, the truth is, it probably says something like AGI is when we turn a profit. They use more flowery language, so it didn't seem as as blunt. But this is what AGI is. AGI is when we turn a profit. When AI makes enough money to uphold its own server costs, because every time you use AI, as we all know, you use a little bit of electricity, and by a little bit I mean an entire fucking lake or something. I stopped measuring after a while. It uses a lot of fucking power. And AGI is apparently when they turn a profit. Now, to you and me, this is absolute fucking bullshit. This is not what we're thinking. We think about AI. We're thinking like HAL 3000. We're thinking about like the Terminator, right? Like we're thinking Hasta La Vista, baby. We're definitely not thinking about profits that OpenAI is making. And that's what makes this so difficult. The issue is that we will never reach HAL or Terminator with LLMs. It's not the right paradigm for it. Even with agentic LLMs, it's not the right it's not right for this. Let me explain a little bit more about like agentic and like how you would have how would have to be in real life and how AGI would have to be. For our purposes, I want to be defining AGI as all right, this is my AGI definition. I think this is what most people would assume AGI is. AGI is when AI can synthesize new solutions. What do I mean by this? By default, as we know, AI is just a really fancy autocomplete. This is good when it comes to recognizing patterns. This is really good when it comes to summarizing data or like really condensing data. But have you ever tried to use AI to do something brand new? It sucks. It cannot create. AI artists are seething right now, but I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. Just give me a moment. It cannot do anything original. Literally, by definition, for this thing to work, the data has to be things that currently exist. As of right now, all LLMs are working under this data set that comes from our world with all of its flaws, knickknacks, and problems. Okay. Everything that exists is what the AI is able to spit out. It cannot spit out anything that does not currently exist, whether in form of writing, in a drawing, in an art style. It has to exist somewhere. That's how it works. It's a normalization. It's modeling weights. It's a normalization of all these different weights and all these numbers into one solid number to give you an output for one token. That's what these are. They're tokens. Each individual piece. Well, that might be two tokens. I don't know. Depends on the AI. As a result, whenever you ask AI to do something brand new, like try to ask AI, make me a fake race of elves that live underground and watch as over and over and over again, it gives you some variant of a World of Warcraft night elf or a fucking drow from Baldur's Gate or something. It can't do it. It can't synthesize brand new thought because there is no thought. It's not thinking. There was a paper written by Apple, I think, of all fucking people, surprisingly enough. That's my Apple logo. I'm leaving it. I'm leaving it. That's the one. Uh, Apple wrote a paper that said this guy's brain, nothing's going on in there. There's no thought. They did this by doing some experiment with the experiment where you have to move these things over here, and you can only move one at a time. So you move this one, and you move that one. You know what the fuck it's called? I forget what it's called. But I tried doing this puzzle. AI failed. And this is like a children's game. This is a children's puzzle. And you'd think that AI, being as smart as AI is, supposedly, it would be able to do this. But it's because you would have to be under the impression that AI is actually capable of thought. But it's not. It's a prediction thing. This is all prediction. It's all predicting what comes next based on everything it has seen. Even when it speaks to you, speaks in quotation marks, it's predicting the next thing that you should hear in a sentence and then in a paragraph. Like this why I say you can't conceive the amount of data that's here, because when I say it, it sounds so mundane. But the amount of data that is being used to train AI, this is the biggest accumulation of knowledge in human history, I think, all into AI. I think that's like very, very insane. I don't think anybody wants to talk about that though. Anyways, so AI can't think. It can't create, can't do anything original. AGI is when it can synthesize new solutions. As right now, everything that it does is just prediction. And this is why I say that LLMs, this model that we have right now, cannot create AGI because LLMs are prediction machines. Like GPT itself is just a tool to predict tokens. Like there's different wrappers for it. So the website will orchestrate GPT in order to have conversations with you. Well, maybe I don't know what app does GPT use. Like if there's a fucking phone app or something, it's not going to be doing conversations. Maybe it's just going to be for searching. Gemini is used for Googling. It's deep searching. Claude is used for code. Like all these different things, they're still LLMs at the end of the day. They're still just prediction machines. And there's no way to synthesize brand new thought with prediction. In order to do that, we would have to go into hybrid systems, most likely using something like, what is it called? Not LoRa. LoRa is something, but that's not what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about a storage system. There's a type of storage, just like what it used to train in the initially, called a vector database, I think. I forget what this thing is called. RAG. Found it. RAG. So something retrieval, whatever. The point is the AI will be able to dig it into the RAG bag to get memories or just long-term information. We're going to call it memories because we're humanizing the AI. It can dig into the RAG and then some type of like master puppeteer, some master hand. That's my master hand. I've never, I'm leaving it. I'm not redrawing that. I'm not redrawing that. Some type of master hand, some type of puppeteer sends down his strings and he pulls on this little loop, connect to the RAG to hook this piece of information and then bring it back to the AI so the AI can spit out better tokens to you using the RAG. But this even this is not real AGI. It's just pretending. It's pretending that it's synthesizing a new solution, but even then, the RAG is only so big. You only have so much space on your hard drive. Eventually, there's just not going to be enough here. What we want from AGI is emergent behavior, right? And we've seen that a couple of times, but it's usually just been happenstance. It's been things that we've personified upon the AI. We've said, wow, it really is thinking. But as Apple paper has shown, and as we are seeing right now, it is not thinking. It has never been thinking. That's just a human thing. You ever see those cars where the car has headlights and then has a grill? It looks like a face, doesn't it? That's a human thing. That's the most human thing about us. We do that for some reason. I'm not getting into that though right now. I think it's cute about humans that we do that. So you remember this B response. Um, it can only respond to what you say. AI right now cannot initiate the conversation. It always replies to a prompt because without the prompt, there's nothing to predict. There's no direction to go. There's no weights to consider. It needs input first. And agentic is just the ability to use tools. RAG is technically agentic, I guess. Let's say that we have a calculation. So AI, 2 plus 2, right? AI will be able to predict that's 4 because this has so many different times tables in it. This massive database, yeah, that had math as well, but it's predicting 4. It's not calculating 4. And this is why we get the strawberry problem. How many R's are in strawberry? Now you see 1, 2, 3. But AI doesn't. And for the longest time, scientists have had no idea how to fix this. So they just lied. They just added new data into the database. And now AI knows whenever I see the word strawberry and somebody asks me how many is in here, I'll just say 3. It doesn't actually count. It doesn't do that. It pretends to. Because remember, it's good at summarizing information, recognizing patterns. It cannot create. It cannot synthesize. It cannot think. The pattern that it's seen is whenever the word strawberry comes up and somebody asks, how, token, many, token, and strawberry makes token. I'm not going to split that for you. Eat it. It looks at this and it says 3 without thinking because that is what the response should be to this question. Thanks to the training. They brute forced it in order to get this answer, but even then it's not perfect. So by default, it's doing this all the time. However, more advanced models have learned to use tools. It's the agentic part. You remember that Puppet Master hooking over here? Well, that Puppet Master could also send a hook over here to a calculator. This calculator is just some Python code. And what this Python code is doing is it's simulating a calculator, not an entire like fully blown GUI and all. It doesn't actually look like this. It's just some code that says variable A plus variable B, and then it returns whatever value that code ran. And that's the solution. And once again, it's still not thinking. It's just finding the tokens for the numbers, and it's plugging, this is A, and this is B, and it's plugging that in, and then it comes back with 4. Now, of course, once again, for the simple things, it's not doing this. It's for the complicated things, where it's like, I'm not writing an entire math equation because I fucking hate math, but you get my point, bro. When you have to do linear equations and all this, that's when it's going into the tool bag and it's pulling out the Python code to plug in wherever the fuck you gave it. It's not sure if it gets it right, and it'll say that it got it right, but it's not really sure, and this is why it's unreliable. Like, let's say that it expected you to give it two values, and instead you gave it eight. That's going to be difficult for it to parse out because, once again, this thing is just predicting. It's just guessing. All right, I think there's a block here, and maybe there's a block here, raw and burr. Okay, maybe. You see what I mean? Like, this is difficult. Um, what I'm trying to get at here overall is that you are not getting AGI with this paradigm of LLMs, with this prediction model. This is not going to get us to the point where we can synthesize new solutions because what we need is emergent behavior. And in that sense, I think that the best promises for this route are probably going to be things that simulate the brain, which is difficult because our neuron pathways are still kind of mysterious today. Okay, so I've established that this is all kind of sort of bullshit. AI itself is kind of sort of bullshit. Um, it's useful, but it's not that useful. It's useful for these parts. It is not useful for these parts. But the majority of the work that we need done are these parts. Keep that in mind, because we'll be coming back to that when I talk about the bubble. So, GPT, AI in general, didn't really come into the public consciousness until like DALL-E and GPT-3. When these happened, AI started going up. This is where we got our GPT-4, our stable diffusion, whatever the fuck, right? We're just skyrocketing. Jobs are being lost. Going up still. Promises are made. Going up still. And once again, I'll repeat it again. AI is useful, is not that useful. Nobody knows that though. This stuff is all very technical. This is not something a normal person would know. I don't expect a normal person to know this stuff. And so it makes sense that we ended up where we were, where we are right now. So the promises are here. But then like there's failures, right? Sam Altman made these promises. It's not doing them. But then he says, don't give up, guys. Okay, fine. We rally. There's a new breakthrough, a new paper, new research. We're proving doubt is wrong. We're just going up. We're skyrocketing, okay? This is never going to stop. AI is the future. AGI, super intelligence, HAL 9000 or whatever, right? We're just climbing, recklessly climbing. All the while, NVIDIA is selling golden picks to any idiot that wants to mine their way up this mountain, making trillions of dollars. And of course, when NVIDIA is rich, that boosts the stock market, and that just boosts the hype. And we end up in this feedback loop where NVIDIA is making all this money and making things look really good with this huge dollar amount. And the stocks are going up because people who don't understand what the fuck was going on are buying in. And that boosts the hype even more, allowing NVIDIA to sell even more pickaxes. This had to end eventually. This was not going to go on forever. And I think the breaking point that I'm seeing right now, where we're finally hitting a bit of a plateau, GPT-5. This was promised to be so important. Now, mind you, GPT-4 was promised to be really important because it was like strawberry. This is how early this meme was, by the way. They were pretending like they figured this out back then. And GPT-5, Sam Altman was posting vaguely her. Now, I've already made a video about Sam Altman's obsession with Scarlett Johansson and the fact that he stole her voice despite her explicitly saying, no, you can't use my voice in your stupid fucking AI trailer bullshit. But he did it anyway because the name recognition of the movie Her is good marketing. Sam Altman is a lot of things. One of them is definitely a marketer. He's really good at selling a fucking dream and sounding naive when he does it. For some reason, people believe him. Or rather, nobody knows what to believe, but that's a different story. So we've reached this plateau. GPT-5 comes out. It's not as good as people say it is. And people have been saying a lot. Remember, this hype cycle, with an H, this hype cycle has been spinning and it's been boosting us. Look how far we've come, okay? Now, we're entering the stage of speculation. Nothing here is proven. I can't verify anything I'm fucking saying now. And nothing I'm about to say is financial advice. I don't know why people say that. Does it actually protect you from anything? Whatever. So the trend is huge. The trend is massive. But after people realize, wait, 90, what was the number? I think it was like 85% of people who use AI do not generate a profit. There's no money coming in. There's more money being spent than coming in. Oh. Yikes. That's not good. And AI, this is where the Apple paper comes in. AI is not actually thinking. Uh-oh, that's not good. Also, it still costs a metric assload of electricity. We're using a lot of electricity. The water supply in all these different towns is making people sick and generating a lot of bad bad press for us. Where's the where's like the AGI? The AGI is supposed to fix this, guys. Like the super intelligence is supposed to tell us how to fix this mess right here, right now. It's supposed to tell us how to fix climate change. We're charging ahead recklessly because AGI was going to save us. How was going to save us? The machine god, the Deus Ex Machina, was going to save us. It's not here. Uh-oh. And then Sam Altman comes out and says, yeah, we might be in a bubble. Yikes. What I foresee, it's silent at first, but then one really big investor pulls out, and then the rest pull out. No, 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 buy it, buy it, buy it, buy it. We can look, no. And we end up down here. Welcome to the Trough of Disillusionment. How do I spell Trough? Let's say Trough oft Dissen, okay? You know what the fuck I'm talking about. The Trough of Dissen. We're in the Trough of Disillusionment. All those fucking stock prices, all those Nvidia shares, they tumble. Now, here's the issue here. Normally, this isn't a problem. Stocks go down, bubble pops, .com, right? Everyone's thinking .com. I'm thinking .com too. This is bigger than .com. It's fine. People lose a lot of fucking money. Pets.com was a stupid fucking joke. The stock market pays for it. However, the US stock market is not doing too good right now. Nvidia alone, with this $1 trillion evaluation, wherever the fuck this number is, this big inflated number, they alone are upholding the entire industry. When AI goes down, the people selling the pickaxes will also go down. And when Nvidia goes down, trillions gone, the stocks also gone. Now, I'm going to point out some trends that we saw during the dot-com bubble and where investors moved their money after the tech stocks all went to shit. And for those of you who weren't born back then, I wasn't really sentient back then either. But the dot-com bubble was when the internet was first coming to prominence, and people didn't really know how to make money off of this thing. They were just like, okay, there's the internet, and supposedly you're supposed to make money, and Amazon's like, yeah, guys, we're going to make a lot of money. And investors, even back then, were speculative. People were speculating what could happen. And so, the trend that people decided was the safe trend back then was to buy up any site that had .com on the end. So pets.com, you buy this, you put a lot of fucking money in, and despite the fact that you could personally know yourself that this is going to fucking fail, but if you put money in, a bunch of people that didn't know but are way richer than you would also buy the stock and send you skyrocketing, all right? And then you could fucking sell and pop off while they get stuck holding the bag. This was the idea. A bunch of swindlers and a bunch of naive idiots and a lot of rich people with nothing else to do with their time. Something interest rates, something cheap borrowing, something housing market. I'm not getting into that. What you need to know is that this popped and everyone went to hell. Everyone went to hell and they died and they burned in hell. I wish that happened. They went to hell. These investors that pumped up the stock, they didn't just like stick around, right? They left the speculation market and they went to the solids. I don't know the name of this. I'm just making it up as I go along, okay? They went to the solid market. Over here we have bonds. Your utility company. I bet you didn't know this. Look at your utility company. You have Duke Energy. Go to the stock market, type in Duke. They are on the stock market. I almost scream. You're telling me my fucking energy company is on the I have to get solar panels as soon as possible. Anyway, electricity, foods, so Pepsi, PepsiCo, raw materials and manufacturing. Cat. What's happening here is they're going from the speculation market where nothing, it's all vaporware, it's all ideas. They're going to places that are solid and that have tangible impact and material gains that they can see with their own hands. Okay, this is where everybody went, and that's why these stocks all did really fucking well. When the bubble popped. Now, is that going to happen with GPT-5? And it's worth noting, all the tech stocks also went to shit. Now, is that going to happen with GPT-5? I don't know. Personally, just full disclosure, I'm definitely betting on that happening. I've definitely put money into my electricity company, Pepsi, Cat, into Nucor. It's people who get copper. It's just raw copper and copper manufacturing. I'm looking for a good steel mill. I'm probably not going to update you when I find one. The point is, I'm personally moving everything over to my solids. Some people are doing Forex. They're saying we have to get out of the fucking US market because, like I said, everything is being upheld by this entire bubble right here. This bubble upholds the US stock market right now. Thanks to Trump's tariffs and the fucking high interest rates we've had for the past 3 years. Like, we've been in a bad spot. This would be a terrible time for this bubble to pop this year or next year or the year after. If it pops like when the next president came in, We might be healthier. We would have more padding to absorb the shock of whatever the fuck crazy. Look at this. We- like the hell zone. We've passed the hell zone. Okay, like we never should have gotten past the failure. We're in the hell zone. This is where the hell zone is. Okay. To absorb the shock, we would need a lot more, and that's why some people have been doing forex. They've just been pulling their money out of the U.S. market altogether. I don't blame them. I'm not doing that personally. I don't blame them though. Once again, none of this is financial advice, but the bubble would pop. We end up in the trough of disillusionment, and this is where most stories end. But I don't want to end the story here on my little show, on my little talk. Because what people forget is that troughs aren't just like this dip that go straight down even further. That's not what happens. Troughs healthfully rise back up. After all this chaos eventually comes back up. Dot-com bubble, they all went to hell. But then the internet was born. Web 2 was born. And then Web 3, and then we went to hell. But you get my point. The point is, after the trough, after everything crashes, what's left is the good stuff. And now I want to talk about what that good stuff is, referring back to this. So, GPT is good at recognizing patterns and summarizing data. The jobs that are absolutely going to be impacted after the crash, after trial, are going to be anything that has to do with recognizing patterns and summarizing data. So, anybody that's working in data science or data analytics, anybody that's working with Power BI, anyone working with Excel sheets, be careful. If you're not careful, if yeah, you could be in real trouble to a certain extent. Programmers, however, the issue with programming is that it changes every fucking year, and AI would not be able to keep up. The patterns are always changing, so programmers aren't in as big of in as big trouble as people have been saying they are. However, there's something I forgot to say, but perception is reality. It doesn't really matter that GPT is not useful. People think it's useful, and the perception is more important than the reality is. And that's why we're in this fucking situation to begin with the promise. We promise you it's good. This is perception. This perception at work. And there's nothing you can really do about that. The reality is programmers are always going to be useful. They're always going to be in demand because programmers are actually creating. The languages change, the specs change, the situations change. Every day is a brand new fucking puzzle when you're a programmer. Um, but your boss might not see it that way. And so, in a way, you are in danger, just like these guys are. To them, programming is just a bunch of patterns. This is especially the case if you're a programmer for a bullshit job. If your boss said, I need you to make another dashboard, another dashboard, this one I want it to look like a Reddit or something, another one. And make sure you use TypeScript for no reason. Yes, we know you can do it with JavaScript. Use TypeScript. It's cool, okay? Google uses TypeScript. You have to use, yeah. If you work as a teacher, once again, teachers, this is a more creative job than people give it credit for. However, perception is reality, and teaching is just patterns. It's just repeating things that you see in a book. And AI can deliver and summarize what those lessons are to each student and tune it properly. The perception is that it's going to be perfect for teaching. You are in danger. I think you get the point right now. What you haven't seen me say is artists, but arts are in danger as well. And it's a little bit more complicated than these other guys, right? Art is in danger not necessarily because there's a pattern to recognize, but because the use for artists commercially, commercial arts, is a lot more patterns than you think it is. For example, let's say I need to make a concept art for a character. AI at this point is pretty good with pretty much everything, including hands. It's able to draw hands better than me. Okay? Say I need a cowboy hat and all this. I can draw this guy in this pose. You know, it looks like it reminds me of that. Never mind. With four fingers. Never mind. Never mind. I'm not going to talk about that. No, I can't see it. You can draw this, you can give it to an AI, and it will render out an entire piece of artwork based on this little dog shit sketch. This is the commercialization of art. It's very fast, it's very simple, it's free. There's no mental disorders, there's no LGBT fucking rainbow phobia going on. There's no God, those furries, you gotta be careful around the furries. The furries are dangerous. You don't have to worry about diversity and woke, like everything that has to do with art and all the things that people hate about artists and hate, like you don't understand how much people despise us. All the things that people hate about art, they don't have to deal with it and they will do anything in their fucking power to get around it. And AI, it's going to produce some trash, bro. But the issue is commercially, they don't really care. I wish I had a better message than that. You're still in danger. I think that when it comes to what lives past the trial of disillusionment, the good stuff, what actually makes it out, what human professions are left, are things that require human touch. Not all art requires a human touch. If you're over here making your persona or something, that's not a human touch. That's not the human touch I'm talking about. The human touch I'm talking about is the judgment that only humans could have. These are usually things like ethics, safety, what else? Risk. Like, remember, AI does not think, and AGI does not exist. There is no AGI. AI is just it's just summarizing things. So all the things, all the promises of AGI, we still have to do it ourselves. AGI is not coming for tens of years, I don't think. We have to do what the fuck AGI promised to do. Everything that AGI promised to do, synthesizing brand new thought, we have to do it. And these are the things that are left. This is the good stuff, in my opinion. And then we have this new race that will emerge of after we realize, okay, compute is not everything. We can't keep throwing electricity at the problem and expecting it to go away. Obviously, electricity isn't the barrier here. Um, we're going to start entering the races of who gets to dominate your attention and gets to become the dominant AI rapper or the AI model. Who gets to be the top dog? Who has the most market share? You know how Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo, these different search engines, Brave, these are fighting out for dominance all the time. Browsers the same way. Firefox. You get my point. We're going to see that GPT, Claude, Grok, and Quen. I think DeepSeek ate shit and died. GPT, Claude, Grok, and Quen. These are going to be the four big dogs, and they're going to be fighting for market share. Oh yeah, Gemini. I forgot about Gem. They're going to be fighting for market share, and whoever can get the most attention, the most eyes, the most loyalty, and can build a product that people will pay money every month to use over and over and over again, they're the ones who are going to win. Now, of course, if you're like me, you should not be paying money at all. You should be hosting your own open source model on bare metal. If you know how to use Docker, how do you make the whale? Is that it? If you know how to use Docker, you're good, okay? Docker is just like a one-click solution. Hell, you don't even have to use fucking Docker. I think there's Olama, like how you make a llama. That's okay. I'm there's one-click solutions. There's GUIs to set it up. You don't even have to do anything. You just have to have a computer that's strong enough to run the goddamn thing. Okay. There's open source versions of this stuff. You don't have to buy into this. You don't have to fall into this. You can have full control over everything that happens here. You still have to pay your electricity bill though. But models are going to become faster, more efficient. And all of these gold pickaxes that NVIDIA's sold to the world, they're going to become very cheap. Or rather, there are going to be so many of them, and nobody's going to want to buy them because they're beaten up and used to hell. And so the next products that NVIDIA is going to shill out, they necessarily have to be way cheaper to justify a profit margin. Nobody's going to buy from NVIDIA again if their next product is even more expensive than these golden pickaxes. So I suspect we're going to be looking at pickaxes that are more attuned to faster, this faster baseline. Maybe this is where they come back to gamers. You know, power the players. All right. Or maybe not. Maybe we eat shit. Maybe we eat shit and die. Maybe it's over. I like think it's not though. I think that there's so much more that happens after the trial of disillusionment, and there's a lot more to consider. But the ultimate thing I want to like really hammer home here is that ultimately this is about control, and we're in for a rough ride. And this is not this is going to be pretty nasty. Whatever the fuck happens here after GPT-5, well, whenever people suddenly realize, wait, this is nonsense. I think I don't know if it's necessarily going to be like the end of the fucking world, like 2008, but it's not going to be pretty. And I would build up a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Just keep it in your pocket, and just hope you can brush this off. Build as much as you can. And when we start building again, and you're looking for this, is not financial advice, you're looking for places to invest, keep an eye on the new race for your intention and your loyalty. Keep an eye on who's providing incentives. Remember, when people broke away from piracy and LimeWire, right, and went to Netflix and Steam, there was a lesson that all these companies learned and that Valve repeated for other people to parrot, right? Piracy is not really an issue of like morals or anything. Piracy is a convenience issue. I don't know how to spell convenience. I'm a mess. It's a convenience issue. So whichever service can give you the best convenience will naturally drive the most loyalty, and that is going to that's pretty much going to shut everybody else out. Google was the most convenient. Bing didn't exist. DuckDuckGo didn't exist. Brave didn't exist. None of these existed. There used to be another search engine called Ask Jeeves or something. There's multiple of these fucking things. But Google had the most. It was the fastest, and it was the shortest URL. Ask Jeeves. I don't know how to spell Jeeves. Is it two E's? At this was a pain in the ass. It's simple. It's fast. It's local. Like Google was going to win that. I'm sure there's more reasons why Google won, but it was the best, and it was the fastest. It was the cheapest. It was fucking free. You can't beat free. Um, this is going to be something to watch out for. Whenever you're picking a company to put all your money into, because you hate diversifying your stocks and you want to bet it all, Wall Street's bet style. Convenience is the number one word I'd be looking for to determine who's going to win after the trial of disillusionment. I don't even know if OpenAI is going to fucking exist. GPT might exist in some open source format, but the rest of these might be who's actually fighting out. Google is the only one who has like the funds to really weather this storm like crazy, because Google is massive. What was I drawing? What was I drawing there? Uh, I'm over it. I don't know what the plan is. Okay, I just wanted to yap about this for a bit. My internet's off, and I'm gonna wait for that to come back on before I post this. All this other stuff about the ID verification, Web3. I already have an entire video talking about that. The answer is to just leave Discord, leave YouTube, diversify your sources, go to PeerTube, host your own node, join Matrix, move your friends over, and stop fucking around. But you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. Your favorite creators aren't going to do that. They're not going to post in two different places. They can't be fucked. They can't be bothered. You're doomed. Um, and for that reason, since you're stuck here, you might as well just learn to smile, okay? Adblock is soon going to be completely destroyed. You're not going to have any alternatives. You're going to be doomed. That's just the way it is. Um, yeah, enjoy. Hey, it's been a couple of days since that previous recording. It's been raining so often here that the internet has basically been drowned, and it's going to take a week for people to come by and repair it. But things have continued to happen, and a video that popped up in my feed today was from one of my favorite creators, Local Scriptman. And he's been, I don't know a more polite way to say this, he's been crashing out for the past month, 2 months, 3 months. He was already somebody who uploaded infrequently, and recently his uploads have been rather uh they've been erratic. Yeah, that's a good word, erratic. He's been erratic lately, and it's gotten a lot of people worried. But even more people have been deciding to take a shit on him and turn him into a lolcow. It wasn't until this recent video where he talks about how he went to LA to fulfill his dreams. He crashed out, and now he's in Chicago, Cincinnati, or something. Um, I realized, oh, okay, the stuff is all connected in one way or another, and that really shouldn't be next to the bridge. And I kind of want to talk about it because this kind of lumps in with what I was talking about a little bit earlier. But I skimmed over it, didn't I? I skimmed over artists. I skimmed over this entire thing of AI and how it affects us. Um, yeah, in a previous video, I talked about how the reins of control are difficult to get a grasp of, right? You can't really do anything if you don't know what you're looking for. And I went to depth near the end of that video, I think, talking about how artists in particular feel so much more deeply than pretty much anyone else. And as a result, while we get the highs, the insane highs of such abstract things like control, we also hit the lowest of lows. So like when things are outside of our control, it really hurts us. It's really bad. And that's really coming into play here with AI in the Rise Bend. I guess I haven't really spoken out loud about my thoughts on all this stuff. Outside of like, yeah, you shouldn't be stealing artists' artwork because like everyone else already said it, right? Like, I don't want to contribute to a conversation that's like been rehashed over and over and over again. Yeah, no shit. It's trained on our artwork, right? It's effectively ruined us. Yo, can you stop running away? Jesus Christ. That's tough. I think sometimes about the depth of pain that one would have to feel in order to do things like this. I still vividly remember what it was like when another creator that I liked a lot and was tangentially in contact with, only tangentially though, Etika, when he took his own life, when he committed suicide by jumping off that bridge. Um, Before that, you could see the events preceding that, just the things the internet did to him, the way he was spiraling, like every last bit of his sanity was like chipped away bit by bit by bit, and ultimately he ended up in a place where he felt that he had nowhere else to go, he had nowhere else to turn to. Um, I'm seeing echoes of that with local script man. I'm not saying that like anybody should feel bad for like trolling or whatever, because that's not really going to fix anything. What wagging your finger is going to fix behaviors that are inherent to anonymity, and the laws that we're seeing in the UK is connected to that in a way as well, right? Everything's connected. Um, but I see those echoes, and I'm nothing but worried. I'm very worried. But what can you do? One of the very first videos that he showed of his crash out um, was where he was talking about AI and how artists need to adapt and how they need to become valuable and how he's going to become valuable, and like you could kind of feel him like trying to convince himself that this wasn't going to be the end of the line, and it doesn't necessarily have to be. Do I need Timequake? We're kind of already killing him like super easy. I might just go into something else. We'll just upgrade this for now. You can hear it in his voice that he's trying to convince himself that he's trying his best to say that everything's going to be. Yeah, that's a mistake. I need you guys for blood bags, so I'm not going to send my best fighter. I have a vampire in this colony, and she needs blood bags, so I keep prisoners on hand, and I keep the strong prisoners because I assume they have more like blood circulation or whatever. This guy's a bad heart. I need to find new prisoners. Okay, yeah, I need new prisoners. Okay, good. They're not dead. They're going to be though. Coagulate him, and then coagulate that guy. We shouldn't be eating right now. I need you to make this wall. We'll get him in a second. Now, arrest him. Okay, good. All right, what was I saying? Fucking prison break. He was in this video talking about how he was going to be different. How everyone needs to just learn how to adapt and be better and do better. And the AI is coming for your job, but like it's only coming for the jobs of the artists who do dog shit work. And to an extent, that's true. I'll get to that in a minute. But he was trying to convince himself that the work that he did, which is essentially script consultation, was valuable, and it is valuable. Um, there's no way an AI. Well, I've talked about this in the video, but AI cannot synthesize brand new ideas. It can't do it. It's not possible for AI to do. And so we end up in this situation where brand new ideas necessarily have to come from humans. And this guy's work, Local Script Guy's work, is brand new. I've never seen anyone analyze literature through the lens of an Enneagram. That's brand new and that's super fucking useful. I've been using it in the way I design the characters for my worlds and now my game for months, years now. This stuff is really good. But it seems that he's not really convinced of that. As all artists are, we're all like that, aren't we? We're all self-conscious that our work is never good enough, that that's never going to be as good as whatever XYZ artists that we saw on Twitter or on fucking Pinterest, right? For me, the longest shame I've held in my heart was over Sakami-chan, which is this really fantastic artist who just their renders are just phenomenal. And I was always saying to myself, I'm never gonna be able to get to that level. And this is before that I knew what my art style even was. And this is before that I understood that the art style I wanted was nothing in that vein. I just felt like inferior. And this is common. This is a common experience amongst all of us. I get it. It's not something that's easily defeated. And you combine that experience with the fact that artists just feel more deeply inherently, and then you add on AI, and we're in a bad spot. We're in a really bad spot here. Do I have any prosthetics? No. I have a mod that randomizes the research, and so I don't really get to choose which research I do manually. So I'm in this really strange spot where I have electricity, but I don't have chocolate. It's very strange. Anyways, he starts crashing out, and now he's in my feed reading Bible verses in what looks like a hotel. I don't feel happy or joyous. I'm not somebody that likes to troll people. I'm somebody that takes his stuff kind of seriously, and this is nothing but dire to me. I want this Gauss rifle. Can I get there in 12 days? It's only 2 days to the destination. Okay, good. Yeah, that's not far at all. I might be able to get there in a day, actually. Take this guy. They need 420. I take this stuff very seriously. And when I was originally making that video, I haven't rewatched it since, but I feel that I might have been a bit flippant, right? I might have been a bit dismissive of concerns of like the nature of this stuff, about how bad it can get. And I want to remedy that now, not by necessarily licking your wounds and telling you everything's going to be okay, right? Because it's not actually going to be okay, is it? I've never used this stuff. I need a place to do genetics. I'm not doing that yet. So first, where do I even start with this? I guess the first thing that I want to do is explain my stance on AI. I believe it's useful. I don't think it's that useful. I think that it should be used as the thing that's intended to be used for, as a tool, a co-pilot, something that sits in the passenger seat. It's not supposed to take over the entire process, no matter what it is you do. That could be data analysis, that could be making charts and graphs for CEOs sitting in boardrooms, chomping on cigars and molesting their secretaries. It's not supposed to be the overarching thing that takes everything from you, right? It's supposed to be a tool. It extradites a lot of the things that you do not want to do. That's the point of AI. But that is not how it's been marketed, and that is not the way that's been. Oh, the drought's ended. I had to extend the pen, and my animals were fucking starving because of this drought, so I can finally close this up and deconstruct these fences. Make my footprint a little bit smaller. We've been the way that AI has been marketed and the way that CEOs have been moving makes it seem like AI is here to take your fucking job, and it has been taking your job. I've said this in another video as well, but it's about career transitioning and like how to escape the grasps of these industry trends and like all these layoffs. And ultimately the thing that I came to is that it doesn't really matter that AI isn't useful. It's perceived as useful, and that's good enough. Because perception is reality. You saw it on that graph I drew earlier. Perception is reality. It doesn't matter that it can't actually do your fucking job. But that's besides the point. My overall view, my feeling is that AI should be in the passenger seat. It should help you, not hurt you. Now, where does this fit for art, for music, for actual like 2D, 3D art? It's supposed to get rid of the tedious parts of writing, to get rid of the tedious parts. So for music, that could be establishing a bass line, not necessarily a melody, because that's very important, and that should be um, a part of your music, but it should be there to inspire you to I remember back when I still knew how to play the fucking guitar, and I still remembered how to play the piano. Like I forgot since I was a child, since I don't play them anymore. Something that you would do often to get inspiration is just pluck strings, right? You just do little melodies in your head, do 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 do, and um, just wait for something to click, right? But what if you could hear new melodies, new quotation marks, like every second? You just press a button, a new melody, press a button, new melody, press a button, new melody. This is a way faster process. And after you find something that kind of sort of is in the ballpark of what you think you like, then you fine tune it yourself. This is what I see the use of AI as being for that part. Let's talk about 3D art. Nobody likes doing UVs, okay? If I could get an AI that could do the UVs for my fucking models, so I have pixel perfect textures every single fucking time with no warping, and I don't have to pull out the stupid fucking numbered texture, bro, I might pay money, okay? I hate doing UVs. Nobody fucking likes doing UVs. But let's talk about something that's not as like not as neurotic maybe. Rigging, perhaps. We already have this tool called Rigify in Blender, and we have sites like Mixamo, which generate a rig for you, as long as you can just point to where the points are on your model. That probably is using AI. This is a good thing. You do not want to do that yourself, all right? Trying to get the depth perception down in your editor of choice for putting the fucking bones into the fingers, it's a pain in the ass. Nobody wants to do it. And then if it doesn't bend correctly, you have to go back, you have to do XYZ. And if it doesn't deform in XYZ way, you have to do ABC. It's just a pain. It's just a pain, right? AI should expedite that process. In 2D art, I'm thinking animation in particular, I recall vividly when my teacher said, all right, in your flip book, you have to redraw the animation. And my heart's sinking, okay? There's nothing fun about redrawing the same frames, the same 8 frames, over and over and over again. It's hellish work. This is stuff that AI should be able to do for you, and it does. We have interpolation, right? Interpolation does that stuff for us. What I'm getting at here is that every part of every process, there's always something painful that we as artists do not want to fucking do. There always is. Do I have to make the pen bigger again? I might have to make it bigger for a bit. They're still starving. Fine. Yeah, I have to make it a little bit bigger. That's unfortunate. Um, there's always going to be something that we don't want to do. AI is useful for that, and I would gladly fucking use it. Whenever I'm making characters, I think that using AI just as a fucking springboard to get you started is a good thing to do. I think that a lot of the issues around AI is like self-inflicted. I've said this before in the video, but AI is not going away. You can't put the genie back into the bottle. And ultimately, fulfill the trade order. Sweet. Do we have the gun? Yes, dude, a Gauss rifle. I don't even know what the fuck this thing is good for, but I'm glad we have it. Okay, I'll run back. Actually, since I'm here. Oh, I'm too heavy. What's up with the plasteel? You guys can take the plasteel back. I don't need that. You guys have anything interesting? Wood. Wood doesn't really grow in my biome very well. What if I take like 150? Yeah, that's good. I think that a lot of this pain that artists are feeling in terms of AI is self-inflicted because like the shame of this thing that stole from us and has built itself on our fucking work and is earning millions of dollars isn't compensating us. Like we're not really seeing the returns of such a tool. And I think this is what Local Script Man was getting at. This the fact of the matter is, you don't have to necessarily feel these things. You can make AI a tool, despite the fact that it's been marketed as something else. And we do this all the time, don't we? Isn't all of art supposed to be interpretation, reinterpretation? We find something and we flip it into something else. It's what we do as artists. I think that was lost in the sauce for Local Script Man's rant because one, he was definitely feeling a type of way about it all. Two, he was using a lot of business vernacular instead of like stuff that relates to like you and me, like the common artist. Like we're not here fucking running a consultant agency. We're just artists doing artist things. So that's ultimately my position. I think AI should be used. I don't think you should avoid it. I don't think that you should run from it. I do think you should be scared of it. I do think you should dread it. I do think you should hate it. But I don't think that it has to be the end of the line. It doesn't have to be. Absolutely not. Military clothing. Uh, yeah, sure. I wish I could get fucking chocolate. Can I not just like pick chocolate on the tree? No? No? Okay. I guess not. Uh, whatever. What's the defense for this thing? It's pretty good. It might be better than the helmet. I'm going to get that, sure. We're working with fucking Gauss rifles. One day I want to talk about like technology trees and like how you actually limit player technology, because this is a problem that I've noticed in a lot of games where I have guns, but I'm still researching crossbows. It's crazy. But yeah, that's my stance. I think that AI should be useful as a tool, and we shouldn't inflict this pain upon ourselves. For the purity of the art, you can still go for the purity of the art, but I don't think that this is healthy. I don't think this whipping that we do to ourselves, this self-flagellation, is going to get us anywhere. I think it hurts us more than it helps us. And instead of taking the reins of AI and taking control as we should be, as the fucking artists who basically made this fucking thing, it wouldn't exist without us. We've been sitting on the sidelines, right? We're sitting on the chair inside the cuck room. You don't want to be the one sitting in the chair, right? We should be the one doing something about it. And well, like I said, I'll say it again. Not only can you not get rid of it, but it's not actually that useful. The moment you try to use it, you realize very quickly it's not that useful. You have to find places in your work where you need or want to use it. For me, all of those things are conceptual. There's no part of my process like midway where I'm like, okay, AI, take the reins. Every time I'm talking to AI or using AI, it's for inspiration. Because a friend of mine doesn't really understand what the fuck I'm talking about when I say first person Devil May Cry. Like, what? What do you mean first person Devil May Cry? What does that mean? Um, there's just certain concepts and ideas I have that I can't talk about with anyone because they're too off the wall. They're too fucking crazy. And the only way I can get those ideas out and like get a rubber duck essentially to talk to is with AI. So that's my position, I think. But but what's the alternative? Let's say that you did want to be a purist, that you do hate AI, that you don't want to use it conceptually. Where do you go? What do you do? Um, can you survive? I don't know, actually. Maybe. It's going to be difficult though. Cons- um, in that video where I was talking about pivoting to a different career because AI and the perception of AI is taking your fucking job, and every CEO is chomping on their cigars, laughing at your misery. Um, I said that I fully anticipate that one day all of this stuff is going to be just commonplace. And it's going to be very difficult to find a consumer or a client that wants artisanal works, right? In woodworking, there's the stuff that you can get from IKEA, and then there's the stuff that you pay thousands and thousands of dollars for to get from a custom carpenter. And guess which one's more popular? Now, can you sustain a carpentry business off of custom carpentry? Yes, but you have to be exceptionally skilled. And a lot of artists just do not have the sauce. They don't have the level of common interpretations or commonly loved art. I listened to this artist commentary a while ago, where this girl was saying that the way that you learn to interpret, look at art, and do art when you're in art school is so different from how people generally look at art outside of art school that you find yourself struggling when you get out and you start to think that you're dog shit at art and you shouldn't be doing it at all. And it's true. The way that artists look at the world is inherently fucking different. The things that we value are not the things that everyone else values. It's like trying to say that women should value this thing and women and men should also value this fucking thing. That's not how it works. We value different things. We have different needs and different wants. And we have to be able to recognize that. Otherwise, we're just going to spin around in circles trying to match each other when you can't match us. Art has to be complementary to what clients want and what they need. And a lot of doing art for work and doing art as a career is actually fulfilling other people's wants and desires. You don't get to fulfill your own. And that's something you only learn the hard way by getting into this business, right? Any commercial artist can vouch for me on this. But one of the most painful parts of doing art as a job is you have to do someone else's vision. And more often than not, their vision is absolutely fucking dumb. Let me not say that. I won't say that. I won't say. I won't say that. I won't say that. Be kind. Be nice. Be nice. Okay. Um, they don't have the taste. No, I can't say that either. Sounds like I'm just gonna fucking say it. They have dog shit taste. Okay. Clients have dog shit taste. They don't want to push their characters beyond XYZ, dark hair, cigarette in his fucking mouth. They never want to fucking do anything like fanciful. If I put little fucking skulls like on their fucking belt, they're like, ew, what's up with all the goth punk? If if I add eyelashes to a male character, they're like, what is this thing, gay? Like, brother, there's no pushing. There's no pushing a client. The client knows what they want, and the client's always right. You're there to fulfill the client's dreams and desires, and there can be an enjoyment in bringing something to life and making someone happy, but that's not always the fucking case. Sometimes you just get some bog standard nonsense, and you're like, dude, where's your imagination? This is the best you got. Like, I dare you to look on any game development forum or any game development Discord and just look at like the team up section. Look at the section where people are talking about the projects they want to fucking make. I've talked about this before as well, but being an ideas guy is the most important person on any team. The ideas guy, the conceptual guy, this is the most important fucking person, and there's a lot of people that cannot do this job, and it's very fucking clear. Ooh, I like that gun. I like that gun. Short range though. They all have short range. I'm not much better. I might just fucking like dive in. Okay. I might just dive in. I might just dive in with my fucking vampire. It's a fucking vampire, right? That's the issue here. Oh, one of them's a psychast? I didn't even see that. Oh my god. I didn't even fucking see that. That's crazy. Alright, we killed him. Why is she so fucking fast? Relax. There we go. There we go. Okay, we got the guns. We're looking good. Jesus Christ. I didn't see that coming at all. What the fuck was I saying? The ideas guy is the most important person on your fucking team. There's a lot of people who don't have good ideas at all. Just really mediocre fucking ideas that don't really go anywhere. And you can see them everywhere. Everywhere you fucking go. Hey guys, you want to make this fucking super generic game? Like, this is the pain of doing this as a job. This is the pain of doing this as a career, okay? It's something you have to learn to accept. It's not really going anywhere. Something, 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 job's difficult, something, 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 AI, conceptually, something, 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 don't replace your entire fucking workload. Like, I think I'm getting my point across just fine. I think you understand what I'm saying here. This doesn't have to be the end of the road for artists. It doesn't have to be the end of the fucking world. You don't have to crash out. You don't have to lose your fucking mind. You don't have to go crazy. It doesn't have to be this way. And I ask that, like, artists find a way to reinterpret this shit that's happening to us right now. Like, for your own sake, find a way to reinterpret, to reread what's happening. Because to end up like this, to end up like what the fuck I've been seeing here, like crashing out over this, literally on my fucking feed, reading Bible verses, like things are dreadful, alright? Things are fucking catastrophic. Like, this is one hell of a fucking timeline to be in, okay? And don't fucking pay for this either. Run it locally if you can. We can enhance our fucking work. We can do so much fucking better. And you don't have to do it. But what I'm saying is, it's going to be difficult to avoid clients that want you to do XYZ quality of work in XYZ amount of time, and they want you to stop fucking thinking so much. There's a lot of clients that do not want what we want. We have to be able to connect these lines. We can't just put our fucking heads in the sand. I think that's ultimately what Local Script Guy was getting at, and I know it feels fucking icky. I know it feels disgusting. And he was a lot more fucking confrontational about it, and he was a lot more, I'm better than you guys about it. Which probably earned him the disdain that he gained. But I'm repeating again that AI isn't something that has to be feared. You shouldn't fear it. It's a tool. Like every other tool, it's just a tool. And once we're able to cross that bridge, once we're able to like comfortably live with the fact that, all right, the show is stolen, we're not getting reconciliation, we're not getting acknowledgement, and no one gives a fuck. If you're not an artist, nobody gives a fuck. That's probably the most painful part. It's always been like this, but it's become even more stark now, hasn't it? Nobody really gives a fuck. Once we can reconcile with these things, I think that we're going to reach I don't want to say new era, I don't want to be super dramatic about it, but I think things will get better. Alright, that's all I have to say. Don't crash out. Don't post Bible verses in my fucking feed. You know, when Intel's stock started crashing for the first time before the U.S. government, comrade government, took 10% of Intel stock for themselves. Pat Gelsinger on Twitter just wrote Bible verses. I can't help that. It's always you know it's dire, you know it's bad when the Bible verses come out. That's how you know we're at the end of our rope here. Okay, when the Bible verses are here, it's over. We're in trouble. we're in a bad place. Uh, oh my god. All right, I'm done. I'm gone. I'm fucking off.